What's up guys, it's Chris Majestic here of Majestex, and today we're going to be reviewing an Amcrest 2K wireless camera, so stay tuned. So if you haven't already, go ahead and take a look at my security camera guide that I did a couple months ago. It's got a lot of good information if you're in the market for a security camera. So if you're not familiar with 2K, which most people aren't, it's actually equivalent to 3 megapixels or 2300 TVL, which is a little bit clearer than 1080p, but not quite as clear as 4K. And PTZ stands for pan tilt zoom, so that means we can actually move this camera up and down, side to side, and do some digital zooming. And in the box, you're gonna find the camera itself. It's gonna come with a wall mount, so you can actually mount it to the wall if you want to and tilt it down. It also is gonna come with some screws and an Ethernet cable if you wanna hardwire it or if you just wanna use the cable to set it up. It also comes with a really long 10-foot power cord, so that definitely helps you with installing it. And it's also powered by USB, which is really nice. So this camera has dual band Wi-Fi, so it supports 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bands. And that's important because if you're trying to push 2K video, you definitely want as much bandwidth as possible. And the cool part about it is that they were actually able to accomplish this without an actual external antenna. And this thing is pretty small compared to typical PTZ cameras. On the front of it, around the camera, you're gonna have 12 infrared LEDs, which are actually hidden. The camera lens itself is actually a 4mm fixed f2.2 lens. So this camera also supports two-way audio, so you're gonna have a microphone in the front as well. On the back, you're gonna find a speaker that's also gonna be used for two-way audio. And on the back, you're also gonna find your power jack, 3.5mm audio input and output jacks, micro SD card slot, alarm IO if you wanna connect it to your house alarm, a reset button, and an Ethernet port that can be used in case you don't wanna use wireless. So you can actually set this camera up using the Amcrest app and just the camera. In previous years when you had IP cameras or wireless cameras, you had to go through the mess of wiring it up to Ethernet wire, going on your computer, trying to get to it, figure it out. You don't have to do any of that anymore. They make it really, really simple for you to use the app. You can just scan the QR code on the bottom of the camera, it finds it for you and it sets it up for you, walks you through the setup process, setting up a password, all the type of things that you would need to do for a wireless camera. Now, alternatively, you could set it up manually through its own interface if you are a tech person and you want to go deeper into the configuration. So if you want to do that, the easiest way that I find is to take an Ethernet cable, stick it into the back of it, and you go ahead, power it up, and then you can use the Amcrest scan tool that's going to scan your network to find the camera, put the IP address in, and it's gonna pull it up in your web browser. That's definitely the best way to do it if you wanna get into all the settings and do a complete configuration. But if you just wanna do something really simple and just get it up and running quickly, the app works really, really well. So as far as the performance of this camera goes, I'm really impressed by it. I connected it to the 5 gigahertz band I have in my house. I had absolutely no issues with connectivity. I didn't have any drop off, any drop frames, anything like that. In the video you see here, I'm standing about 30 to 35 feet away from it, and you really can't pick up my face that well. So I do think that 32-foot range is definitely the very end of the spectrum as far as night vision goes. Then if you choose to stream it in 2K, you're gonna be limited to 20 frames per second, but it does do 1080p at 30 frames per second. So if frame rate is important to you, you may have to step it down to 1080. Now, as I said, this does have a 90-degree viewing angle, so it's not super wide, but since it's a PTZ, you can always move it around to pick up areas that you can't see. And speaking of viewing angles, this thing picks up all the way up to 360 degrees, so it does almost a complete turnaround, so you can pick up anything around it if you sit it in the middle of a room or on a ceiling or something like that. Now, there are a couple of recording options with this camera. Not only do you have the micro SD card slot, which can be used to push video, Amcrest also has a cloud service, and you actually get 4 hours free of cloud service, or you can do $6 a month for 7 days, $10 a month for 14 days, or $15 a month for 30 days. Now, compared to a lot of other wireless cameras that you're gonna find out in the store, this definitely has a lot more professional features on it. If you couldn't tell by seeing things like the alarm IO, having a wired Ethernet port, those kind of things are rare to find in a lower budget wireless camera. But what comes along with buying this type of camera is that it has support for a lot of different protocols if you want to either push this to like an NVR or have an FTP server or something like that if you're a tech person. Another cool thing is that you can actually get smart motion alerts with this, and you can set up multiple zones for it as well. So if you're getting a lot of false alarms and you don't want it recording unnecessarily, you can actually set up the zones however you want to avoid false alarms or just to pick up certain certain areas if you want. So overall, I do really like this camera. The fact that it has 2K video, it has a lot of extra features like the motion zone detection, having the two-way audio, dual band Wi-Fi. It has a really sharp image. The PTZ controls are really responsive using the phone. It's very fluid and quiet, which is important, especially if you want to use it like in a baby room or something like that. It's definitely a high quality camera. And I will be giving this camera away, so I'm going to be doing a giveaway later this week for this camera, so look out for that video. And I will also be posting Amazon affiliate links in the description of the video in case you want to go check the camera out. As always, guys, if you found the video helpful, mash that like button for me, and I'll see you guys in the next video.